And if you actually have 2 different sourdoughs in your home and they happen
Yeah,
to be
why
in
am
the
I telling
same
you
room-
this? You're like the sourdough queen. You know all of this.
Okay, queen is not the official title. I will take duchess. The podcast.
All right, start. God bless you. Good to see you, Brandy.
Hey, thanks for having me, Matt.
We're
I'm
back.
excited.
We're back at it. So
Yeah.
I had this guy on yesterday, Charlie Justice. That episode will come out, I believe, next week. But
Okay.
Charlie worked for Fish and Game for 30 years. And I had got connected with him because he saw one of the other Fish and Game episodes. But he was like, all right, I'd be happy to come on. Do I have to talk about wolves? So I said, no, like talk about whatever you want. He said, because I'd really like to talk about snakes. I was like, what? So he comes on and he starts telling me how he was heading off these multi-agency sting operations on the black market of snake trading in Idaho. So they were literally going out, harvesting wild snakes, shipping them to other states that would then, they would broker them to other, like people in Florida and stuff, right? Because Florida has a big problem with the boas. Like the Everglades have been destroyed by boa constrictors that are not native to Florida.
I also had that dude that was the height of COVID. What's his face?
Oh, the Tiger King.
Yes.
Yes.
They had Tiger King in Florida. Maybe not Florida. He's in the South though, for sure.
There's like the Snake King here.
Weird.
Right. And people go out and grab rattler snakes and all kinds
Sorry.
of. Yeah.
No, that's not. There's no way that this can be a thing. Like I'm just picturing some dude in a night with a black bag, like searching for snakes.
That's exactly what they do. I think they actually set up snake. I don't know if it's necessarily, we call them snake traps, but they actually set up like a flipped over tin or plywood or something like that. So snakes seeking shelter during like the heat of the day or something will go under these, and they know where those are. So they go and flip them, and then they have like the tongs and like a pillowcase. He was telling me, and it's all in the episode, you'll have to watch it, but he was telling me he has this cobra that this guy's dropping into this bag. And he's like, this particular cobra, it has 2 types of venom, one for your muscles and one for your nervous system or something. And he's like, so there's no anti-venom for it. And here he's holding a pillowcase. He's, undercover.
Yeah.
Here he's holding a pillowcase and they're dropping the snake into the pillowcase. He's like, watch your thumbs.
Nope. Hard pass.
That's how hard the fishing game is here.
I have a different respect level now though, because that is very terrifying. And I would have now I have a weird fun fact to share with everybody I know. Oh no. How often do they do these stings though?
I don't think it's uncommon. So look.
So there's this dude with a black market. He just goes and catches snakes and he's like, hey, you want to buy some snakes? And he opens like his.
Yeah. So he said when they did a sting, you'll have to watch the whole episode because the story leading up to it is crazy. He said when they did the sting, the big sting, they actually had multi-agency operation going on and they hit 3 different apartment complexes at once because, of course, these guys are living in apartments.
Right.
And he said they drew out I think it was over 100 rattlesnakes out of these.
In an apartment building?
Yeah, in the apartment. So it was one apartment here, one apartment. And they had to hit them all at the exact same time. So one guy didn't warn the other guys. So all of these agencies, it was like police departments and sheriff's offices, they all show up at these apartment complexes and hit them at the same time. They just knock on the door. They're like, I'm with Fish and Game. We're going to have to come in and check out your snakes. And they had all of these snakes.
Okay, I have a special request.
Like terrariums climbing on top of each other.
We need to get in and we need to wear we need to be a fly on the wall and watch this sting. Like, dude, I'm serious.
If we could go to...
Can we wear like an ATF? We'll just come in like vests and we'll like observe. We'll supervise.
No, it'll say the ranch.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Could you imagine if we got... I've actually had a sheriff. He's like, if you want to come onto one of the interstate drug busts, because they have... Yes. They had federally deputized police officers so that they could go to like Oregon and they could go to like these different borders and bust people. So he invited me along. If I could get in, shout out Fish and Game. If could get in on, if we could get in on a bus, we'll be in the car. I just want to see. We'll be live.
We'll podcast from there.
I just want to see the pillowcase filled with rattlesnakes coming out of the apartment
I don't want to
complex.
see pillowcases full. I would prefer to see something more secure in which we would not get bitten. But I mean, like,
we're not going to be touching them. Maybe a trash can.
Trash can would be fine.
Trash can
terrarium
and then
the terrarium with a lid on it.
Not a glass terrarium.
Yeah, that's terrifying.
Okay, listen, we need to start eating because we're both starving. All right, let's first off, let me get the photos.
I'm so excited.
Here.
Okay, so we have Spring Creek Brewing today, which, by the way, Avimor, they're like 6 minutes away from you, and I didn't realize how delicious their food was until I walked in and I smelled everything. They have a wood fire where they like bake the pizza in one of those big giant
Yeah,
wood
yeah,
fire ovens. I teased the guy. I was like, if I ever win the lottery, no one will know, but there will be signs like one of these in my house.
They're so awesome.
They're so
the
cool.
wood fire. Yeah.
Yes.
So they have the wood, and they're right in Avimor.
Oh yeah,
Like
you have to literally at that oh gosh, at the light right there, you make a right turn and then you make a quick left, and
Yeah,
they're
it's
right
right
on the
there.
corner.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
they can't have any signs, so they're kind of in the process of trying to see if, being that they're officially zoned an Eagle, if they can get any signage put on the street, because most people don't know they exist.
Right.
So I'm here to shout them out
Right,
on the
it's
ranch
great.
today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it is good. I haven't physically eaten in the restaurant, but I've had takeout from it before, and
Okay.
it was really, really good. Yeah, and
I'm
a bunch of my
excited.
friends go up there. But you're right, people moving in, unless you hang out or you like schlep up there, even if you're going up to McCall or something, you don't really interact with it because you can't see
it. There's actually a couple really big trees right in front of it.
Yeah.
So as you're driving by, it just looks very scenic. It doesn't look like, oh, hey, there's a place I can stop. And they have food trucks on Mondays. So they do a big food truck Mondays. They have live music on Fridays. They're doing a big brew fest in August where they invite a ton of different local breweries. And they have this cooperative where they come together and they have friendships. Like Mother Earth, he is really good friends with the people that brew there. So they have a lot of camaraderie. They share things. Like he was talking about the yeast. The yeast that's being bloomed at Mother Earth, they're so willing to be like, hey, it's local, it's fresh. Like, we're happy to share it with you guys.
That's so cool.
How stinking cool of a community we live in where they're just pouring into one another and not worrying about competition. It's all about collaboration.
Yeah, and that local yeast is different because you have a San Francisco sourdough that is distinctly different because you have airborne yeast in the Bay Area.
Yeah. And if you actually have two different sourdows in your home and they happen to be
why
in
am
the
I telling
same
you
room-
this? You're like the sourdough queen. You know all of this.
Okay, queen is not the official title. I will take Duchess, but that's okay. Okay, now I have to
start
jump in.
Start getting in. Let's do this.
They have supplied a Belma and Louise double IPA,
Okay, hang on.
which
Hang
looks
on.
amazing, and I love the name, so I ordered it for the
Thelma
name.
and Louise.
Yes.
Okay, but I'm not riding a convertible off of a cliffside.
No.
With you after this.
No, I can't. I don't have time for that today.
Okay,
And
what's the other one?
Pick Your Poison Sour Mixed Berry. So
God
originally
bless
they had,
America.
they had like a blood orange and pineapple. And I was like, ooh, tropical. And he goes, I'm so sorry, it's mixed berry. And I was like, oh no, mixed berry sounds so much better today. So it worked out great. And then the big reveal. Are you ready for this?
I have to get used to the way you talk because when you say "oh no," this is like
It's a
Michael
good oh
Jackson.
no.
Like it's bad. You're like it's so bad.
Oh, it's so bad. It's
She's
good.
a bad bitch.
And he's like, do you like spicy? And I was like, I love spicy. So there's pears. I'm even going to, you know what? I'm
They
going to
don't
pull up
have
the screenshot.
gluten-free crust, do they?
No,
That's
because they make the
so
crust
good.
there. So
Yeah.
everything,
Oh,
I'm sorry,
that's
Matt.
good.
I'm going to dive in.
Go.
Okay, ready? Oh no.
Ah, there it is. Who didn't see that coming? All right.
It's
All right.
like the perfect combination of spicy with a hint of sweet.
Oh, and they hooked it up with steak tacos today too.
Yeah. El Jefe steak tacos. And I'm going to tell you what's on top of them because it's cheese, obviously. I mean, you can't have a taco without cheese. Oh,
Look at that beast.
and
It's double racked too. God bless it.
I can't give credit to Spring Creek Brewing, but I have brought you my famous jalapeno crema. And our famous, Idaho famous Juanita's chips. By the way, they did like a check-in of what kind of chips and things do people buy, and Juanita's is top on the list in Idaho. It's an Idaho thing.
Wait. I'm not following you. Are Juanitas from Idaho?
That's a really good. I need to call Juanita's and ask because it is an Idaho thing. They're made in Oregon.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah, so they're local to the Pacific Northwest. So you're gonna
that's
have
so
to try
good.
it. I know you don't like cilantro, but you're gonna have to bear with me because
Listen
it's
to me.
delicious.
I'm gonna give this a shot.
Yeah.
I do this. I don't give a
And you can
shit.
lie to me.
Oh, God, it's gonna be the best. Okay, that's damn good.
Yeah,
That's
so
super good.
It's like this really well melded.
That's really, really good.
It's
and it's
like-
not too cilantro. Oh, you got spice in there too. What kind of peppers do you put in there?
They're pickled jalapenos.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, so it's a can of pickled jalapenos that have the carrots and the onions, and then you have all the
And
goodies.
this is my cocktail today is a what is this? A Smurf turf?
It's Smurf Turf. Go Boise State.
Yes. God
Okay,
bless it.
I'm gonna try.
Yeah,
Pick your
rock and
poison.
roll. That's good. Oh no. Is it a no-no?
It's an oh no.
It's a no-no.
It is really good.
You should have the oh no scale. Like, how many no's does it get? It's a 3 no. Oh, no, no, no. Or you're like, oh no.
You're like, it's an oh no to the 1th power. To the 1th power. That's not even like grammatically correct.
That's really good.
So what's in that one?
That one's a lemon and blue spirulina.
Yeah, the blue spirulina makes it the blue color. So if you pour it in a glass, it is actually blue, but it's naturally dyed.
Oh.
Isn't that kind of cool?
I should go get a glass, but I don't want to leave right now. Yeah.
Well, fair enough.
All right. That was delicious. How's the other one? Is that the Thelma and Louise?
Wow. I'm not an IPA gal. I'm really not. And like I said, I chose it for the name because I thought it sounded really cool.
Yeah.
It is very palatable. It's very smooth. It's not overly pungent, especially for being 9.2% alcohol. It's not like kick you in the face.
It's not overpowering.
No, not at all. Like this paired with a Wagyu beef burger from them. Oh my gosh. The burger saga continues. They have burgers.
Back up here. So if you tell me they don't have a gluten-free option for burgers, you're just going to break my heart. Or I will have to figure out a way I could take my own like gluten-free bun. Yeah, I mess with the lettuce wrap. That's actually true. Okay, so talk to me about the burger saga. Did they tell you?
Oh, he was talking about how they switched over. They used to have like the Cisco, the stereotypical one that you get whenever you go to a burger place.
Sure.
And they switched to a Wagyu beef like blend. And I'm like, oh, you hooked me already. I mean, I almost ordered the burger strictly on the pictures alone.
All right, well, we're going to have
They have like a brioche bun. The fries, I walked into the area where they have all the big kettles. I think they're called kettles.
Yeah,
the brewers. And people were eating the burgers and fries. And the fries looked like that perfectly crisp, like, Matt, I know. I told him maybe we'll go live one day this summer.
Yeah, we
from
should
there.
do that. I was just thinking the food truck stuff too. Like we should just go.
That'd be fun.
Like once a month we go somewhere and find a food truck and order stuff straight from there and then just go live, you know.
You had me at food truck.
Okay, that's good. They actually I've never been for this, but I've seen pictures of their Bloody Mary, and their Bloody Mary literally has like sliders and chicken wings attached to it with like these giant spears. It was the sickest looking Bloody Mary work of art I'd ever seen.
That sounds amazing. Okay.
Okay, let me ask you something as you eat your pizza. You know, like when we were younger in our 20s, we could get away with day drinking on like a Saturday or something. You know, like, and I didn't do a lot of it because especially when I got working really hard when I was 23.
Yep.
My wife and I worked Saturdays and Sundays. So like there was no day drinking, but there was a brief period of time in between when I was graduating from college to when I really ramped up to 7 days a week. We had about it's like a 12-month period or 16-month period where it was like, okay, you could get away with like having beers on like Saturday at 10 or like watching a game or whatever.
Yep. Tailgating.
Yeah. Like, and I didn't do that in college because I was on the rowing team. So we had Saturday morning practice. So by the time I got done with practice at like, 9 a.m., we'd been out there killing ourselves for hours. I was shot. And like, Saturday afternoon rolled around or like the football game. And maybe I have a little bit, but I was so tired anyway. I'm like, I can't get into this. So I needed just enough energy so I could actually enjoy the experience, but no responsibilities at all. Right.
Right.
Did you ever get into like fancy Bloody Mary drinks or were you just like a beer gal?
So I was gluten-free for years. So that's why when you said, oh, I'm gluten-free, I was like, bazinga. I know exactly what to feed you. I was more of let's go out and dance and let's go country line dancing because that was like my jam. So we'd all get together at one of our friends' house. We'd all get ready together as females at 21 do.
Wait, what time of the day?
This is after all of us got off of work at Disneyland.
Oh my God, keep going.
We'd all go to Sarah's house.
Great.
Shout out to Sarah if you're listening.
Shout out,
Sarah. Oh my goodness. We have so many memories of shenanigans and all the fun that we got into. And it was usually we'd go to Western Collective. Not Western Collective. That's a brewery out here. It used to be Western Connection. It's called Montana's in San Dimas. Actually, funny story. My mom and my grandma and my aunt used to go country line dancing there back in the day when I was little. So,
I imagine they don't have that many country line dancing options in Disneyland.
It actually was in San Dimas. So like we all lived 45 minutes away from Disneyland. So we'd all go back to her house. We'd all get ready. And that's actually where I met my husband, is country line dancing. So I was like a vodka cranberry kind of girl, because I was like, okay, cool. This doesn't hit my system. I don't ever feel anything. I'm sweating it all off anyways, dancing. So that was our shtick. I was never like now I enjoy a good like Moscow Mule, but that's because I can have like one drink without having a headache.
Okay, so you weren't like a big hangout on the weekend. What would you do on the weekends?
I worked. So I was working at the dance studio, teaching classes. I was working at Disneyland, working different shifts, picking up wherever
So
I could.
your hot minute was like Friday night at the country line or the Thursday night or something, because you had to work on Saturday.
Well, and it was all of our shifts are. You can tell I haven't had coffee. All of our shifts were so different and so scheduled differently that you never really knew until the fall, like the prior week. Okay, am I going to have the same weekend off as my friend?
Right.
And if so, okay, cool. Let's make. Oh my gosh, I have to tell you a funny story.
Go.
So
these tacos are fire, by the
I
Holy cow.
clearly will not let the pizza go. I'm like, if it leaves my hand, it's gonna vanish. So I actually used to be in scheduling. So I did data analytics for Disney for a hot minute when I worked my way up into the back of house, as we called it. And we would put out schedules 3 weeks in advance. So I was 3 weeks out. We had the scheduler that was 2 weeks out that would build the shifts differently. And then we had somebody week of that would fill the shifts if somebody called in and that kind of thing. It was very complex. But the problem is there'd be people waiting on like a Thursday, or was it Wednesday? Whatever day we issued them, there'd be people waiting there to see the schedule, to find out what they were working. Because they couldn't always work with your schedule. You didn't know if you were going to have your finals off or what have you. But we would try to buffer for all of that. I remember.
This is so good.
You have not stopped, which makes my heart so happy.
So happy to be
Shout
here
out to
eating this.
Jeff. Thank you so much, Jeff. This is amazing.
These steak tacos are probably, and I like make a mean taco. This is so good. This hit the spot. How have I not been doing this with my life the whole time? Like, how is it I'm a year and a half into this podcast and I just find you and we start eating food?
I know.
This is the best.
This is my favorite, like one of my favorite parts of the week, honestly. Finding good food, good conversation, and lots of fun. So,
like, isn't that true?
Oh,
Isn't that what we just try to do in life? Yeah. Like, find someone you can talk to and then eat. That's
yes. And eat good food and local food. I think that's part of my favorite is like, I know when I'm eating their food, I'm not worrying, oh gosh, who did you get this from? Who did you source your meat? Who did you source? He's like, yeah, we source local as much as physically possible. And that's where he brought in the whole yeast conversation. It's like, we used to have to buy it from like Oregon. And I'm going, you can like totally dote the fact that you are supplying almost every piece of this from Idaho locally.
Do they have a specific provider for their beef? Like, do they have a cow guy around here?
That's a really good question. I need to ask. Okay, I have a follow-up question for him now.
Yeah, I'm super pumped about getting more into big game hunting, specifically because I would really like to start avoiding going shopping at the store for protein as much as possible. Like, I'm not going to grow like asparagus, right? Like, we're going to have to get fruits and vegetables from the store, obviously, but to the degree that I can, getting some kind of protein from wild animals or making a deal with my neighbors who have like 12 chickens. Holler.
I forgot your eggs. I was bringing you duck eggs next week.
Oh my God.
Next week, you're getting duck eggs.
It's going to be great.
And then you're going to hard boil them and you're going to tell me the difference, because I have heard feedback that they are heftier and they are more like dense.
Yeah.
So even when you hard boil them, like, our friends were like, yeah, I hard-boiled 4 for lunch. I ate 2 and I was full. And this is like a grown man. I mean, one of my girls, her butt nuggets are like that big. So they're pretty beefy.
They're pretty hefty.
They're beefy.
I was later in life when a friend of mine told me actually how to hard-boil eggs. So when I was like 22, just out of college, and I'd be like running out the door. It was like trying to go to work. I've not prepared food for myself. I'm living in a hovel, actually.
You're 22.
Okay, but check this out. I was actually living in a 2-car garage. I didn't realize it at the time because I was 22, but it was a detached 2-car garage, and they had actually taken this room is actually bigger than my apartment was. They had taken half of the 2-car garage as a storage unit. So they made the storage unit that was like 7 feet high. right? And then footprint was half of the garage. The reason I'm telling you this is because the rest of the garage was where my apartment was, but my bed was up over the storage unit, right? So like they had carved out
There's
this
like
little
a
spot.
loft.
There was a loft, but you couldn't walk. So literally I scampered up this ladder and then crawled over to my bed.
I'm picturing you like a rodent scampering.
That's exactly
my
what
gosh.
it looked
Well,
like.
you were
I was
22,
like,
so
I was 22. But I had a point to this story. Oh, running out the door. So I would never. Oh, the refrigerator, like you can imagine, I didn't even have a full size fridge. So I had a 2-burner stove. One of the burners didn't light properly, so I had to always burn my finger with a match. And so what? And I didn't even have pots and pans. It's classic me. Like I had a problem. I didn't have pots and pans, and it didn't occur to me to like go purchase them. Somebody gave me a pot, and so for 6 months, all I did was cook stuff that I could cook in a pot. So I do like poached eggs in boiling water. I do hard-boiled eggs. I do like a lot of potatoes.
Yeah.
I do soups. My grandma did get me a Betty Crocker like a external oven. So it was like a countertop
Right.
oven that you just plug in, and
Yeah.
then so I could like make chickens and stuff, and then
almost
boil.
like a deluxe air fryer type of situation.
Yeah, but it was old school, so all it
Right.
had was a heating element, and then you just
Yeah.
drop stuff in it. And of course, the sink I had, this Betty Crocker oven thing was like huge, right? And the sink I had was about this big, so cleaning out the Betty Crocker thing was such a train wreck. Like there was,
Every time you're like, I will never roast a chicken again.
like, and oh my God, shout out Grandma, I love you. She passed away over COVID. It was unfortunate, but she was so great to me. Anyway, so I have
Grandmas
this pot.
are the best.
Grandmas are the best. And I would be going for like a 12-hour day of work, having no food, and I would just go from house to house. So I would very rarely be able to stop. So I had hard-boiled eggs, and I would just boil the shit out of them. Just boil.
So they're like gray on the inside, and they're
was the
hard.
point. I found out later in life, they're like, no. You put the egg in the water, you bring it up to a boil, then kill the power and cover it for 10 minutes. And then you take the egg out, and it's not going to be gray on the inside. You won't have that sulfury thing. I was like, what?
I've never heard that.
I know. That's how you're supposed to do it. Bring it to a boil, kill the power, cover it, and it'll cook just right.
Oh no, I'm trialing this when I get home.
This is an oh no.
Oh no.
Yes.
Something Brandy didn't know.
Yeah.
And see, I've been doing them in the Instapot. I've been, so they have like the setting. It's like you let it come up to pressure. It's like 7 minutes. You cook them for 7 minutes. You let them come down 7 minutes. There's like a 7-7-7 deal kind of thing. And I've always tried that. And for me personally, like it works and like a charm.
Oh,
and,
yeah. I'm telling you that.
I don't eat eggs anymore, but there's that.
But if you did like the
but
duck
if I,
egg.
but no, I can't eat duck eggs either. So my little ones, so that's this whole like analogy of switching from duck eggs and all these things. Now I can't even eat those because they make my mouth swell. We went to In-N-Out, and I didn't even think about the fact that the sauce is a mayo base that has egg in it. So I ate it.
No.
I ended up miserable for a solid 24 hours. So now I have to go and I get ketchup and mustard on my In-N-Out burger.
No
I know.
Special sauce.
Yeah, and I'm bummed because they have like this spicy sauce that you can get with your hot wings at Spring Creek Brewing, and they were talking about it and bragging about it because the guy that runs like his brewing and one of his managers, we were talking, rapping, and I was like, what is your favorite food? Like, what's your favorite food to get here? And he's like, well, the burgers. So I'm like, okay,
we're coming back to the burgers.
Yes, we're gonna do a burger.
You know those paper towels, please?
Oh, absolutely.
These tacos are really delicious and juicy. Anyway, so he was saying that they have the sauce.
So this sauce, and it's not a typical buffalo sauce. It's like a spicy something sauce, and I'll have to find the exact phrase and send it to you. But they were like bragging about it, braggadocious.
So you are not like a big shrimp Louis kind of gal, because
Not
shrimp Louis is
anymore.
essentially just
Yeah.
iceberg lettuce,
I know.
shrimp, and then like Thousand Island, right?
But I made a homemade Caesar dressing. So I do like food prep on Sundays for my family, just to kind of get us prepped for the week.
Sure.
And then I do another mini one on Fridays. So I do our grocery shopping Fridays, prep everything Sundays to get us ready for the week, to make sure our flow works well. It works for us. And I was making chimichurri. So I made homemade chimichurri, I made jalapeno crema, and I made our homemade Caesar salad dressing. I would have licked the bowl that thing came in, but I used egg-free mayo. And that was like the caveat is like, okay, cool. I used actual like sardine paste. or anchovy paste, and I did all the normal things, but I used my egg-free mayo, and I would have never known the difference.
Is that what Miracle Whip is? Because Miracle Whip
God,
was
no.
supposed to be an alternative.
no.
Or is that like partially hydrogenated?
Yeah, that is what that is. That is like,
I never
we're going to
understood.
flavor it like mayo and whip it in a similar fashion.
That's like Hershey's chocolate flavored syrup. The Hershey syrup is not actually chocolate.
No.
It doesn't have any chocolate in it. It's chocolate flavored.
Get the one with 5 ingredients. There's a Hershey's 5. So if I get lazy and I don't make syrup at home.
If I get lazy, God, you make me feel like a terrible parent.
No, and only because, so my kids don't digest dairy well. Sorry, guys, that's my fault. So we don't digest dairy well. So I always get this extra creamy oat milk. And then we have chocolate syrup. So we do either smoothies or chocolate milk or things like that. But I always if it's homemade, it just elevates that crappy oat milk and makes it taste like the semblance of normalcy in your mouth.
I've started doing I try to stay away from a lot of sweets.
Right.
Just because it's straight up not good.
They're just not good for you.
They're not good for you. But
They're
actually, they're really good. The wife got me some, Guru Donuts. Shout out Guru Donuts. I came home last night. Are they a member?
They're not a member yet.
Guru Donuts.
I know.
Come on.
But here's the thing. Their owners that just bought the place, did the renovation, their manager, everybody is, I can't shout them out enough. They were so hospitable and welcoming. And they gave me this vegan breakfast sandwich on a brioche bun or a brioche donut that was gluten-free.
Wait, why did they do this? That's so nice.
Just to show off that their new renovations, to welcome us and to make sure that we knew what they had to provide to our community.
But they're not members.
No, but you know what?
They're getting the milk without buying the cow. That's not fair.
I will forever shout them out, though. Okay, so here's the thing.
They're not members.
Okay, you're right.
They leveraged your kindness.
They didn't leverage anything.
They gave
me donuts.
and took advantage of you. They took advantage of you.
Guru can do no harm.
They
no.
took advantage. They were like, I know Brandy's part of the chamber and she's super nice. I'm going to give her a donut, be super nice to her, not going to become a member, but she's going to shout me out.
No, stop it. Not even. So that is not
Well,
even
I'll tell you what
they
didn't give me. They didn't give me what they gave you. Why? Because I'm not a member of the chamber.
Well, okay, so here's the thing. They had invited us to their grand reopening.
When you say us, who's us?
Jennifer and I. So our director.
Who's Jennifer? Okay.
The director of the chamber.
They invited the chamber to the grand reopening.
To let us
did
see.
not
Yes.
opt to become members.
I am not poo-pooing on them. You're not wrangling me up in this poo-poo fest.
You don't have to agree with me. The audience will agree with me. I guarantee you that's exactly what it is.
But we are going to shout out because that gluten-free donut you ate, how many no-no-nos is it?
All right, they're pretty fire. I got to be honest. Really,
Thank
really
you. But the fact that they've taken Guru, which was something that we tried the first time we came here as well. And we flew in and we got a Guru donut and we were like, oh no.
No.
And it was just this thing that's nostalgic now for us.
Right.
And
okay, I get it now. All right, I'd like a little bit better Chinese, but okay.
Okay, I feel like that's going to be our next survey is where do you get groceries that support local?
Can't you just do Boise Co-op?
You can, but that also takes people out of Eagle. So are you shopping local to Eagle in Eagle, and where are you shopping? And then where can you get good Chinese food? Bonus if it's in Eagle. And I'm gonna put those up this week.
I'll tell you what. The answer to the first one, I don't know. Like where would you get locally grown produce? Actually, there are like fruit stands and stuff.
There's a ton of fruit stands.
So the answer to the second question, where do you get good Chinese in Eagle or outside of Eagle, is no.
Go to my house. Oh my gosh, I got my father-in-law. I made him.
You're doing like Mexican Chinese fusion. Like,
oh no, I'm doing everything. Because that was always our joke is we have kids with so many food allergies.
You got to make your own stuff. Yeah,
we have to be very careful. Like especially the peanut allergy. Yeah. Like homeboy can go anaphylactic, and that I do not have the time nor energy to go to the emergency room.
I don't have the emotional capacity to deal with some kid whose throat's closing up.
No, well, and at that point, you better be on point for me having a panic attack in the next week because I'm going to come down from the stress and I'm going to be a ball of
that Kung
tears.
Pao better be on point.
Oh, it better be good because I'm going to be eating that chow mein for days. I love a good chow mein.
Poor kid.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
My son learned how to make bao buns.
Like also bao, like the pork buns?
Yeah.
How?
So we went to you can judge all you want. I don't care. Mama Bear don't care. So we went to this Chinese buffet because we're like, you know what? We got to try something. Like, we heard good things. My dad and stepmom actually took us because my dad is like, he will find the best Chinese food no matter where he goes. Oh, I'm serious. Like, anywhere we go, he's like, no.
living here now?
Fun story.
Fun story.
I know. They're actually coming up on the 7th to visit us for one day. And then they're driving up to go meet with a realtor, to meet with a developer and a realtor and see if there's acreage and stuff about 7 hours north of us. So I will take 7 hours over 15 hours any day.
That's great.
Oh, that's a weekend. My husband's at Firebird Racing, and I'm like, okay, cool. I'm going to take the kids, and I'll go to Grandma and Grandpa's for the weekend and go and visit and do fun things, and they can ride quads with Grandpa.
Yeah. Okay. So first off, I don't think you should ever mention, ever, that somebody's meeting with a realtor on this show. Because there'll be... Don't die over there.
That was a very fair point. I
just think.
This one was really good for the record.
That's your pick your what?
The sour. It's playing so well with the sweetness that's bringing with the spicy that you have like this sweet, spicy, sour combination that is, if they don't pair these together, then I have just...
When I realized I couldn't drink beer anymore, it was the IPA and the sours. That's what I was most bummed about. The sours are so good.
The sours. If I'm going to have one, it has to be sour.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the only one. Otherwise, I'm a seltzer or like a cider girl, which... Apparently, I have a new hyperfixation. I've started making water kefir again.
What?
So
what's water kefir? Don't just.
Oh no, Matt.
Uneducated.
No. Oh, I'm so excited. Okay, water kefir.
Can we just discuss your crema is incredible?
Thank you. I'm so excited. It is, by the way, it's good on anything. We put it on burgers, like tacos, quesadillas, pizza, bread. We use it as salad dressing. So we make a lot of like burrito bowls and use that more as a dressing with a little bit of like.
This is incredible.
Yeah. We use it with everything.
The crema.
The crema.
Okay, keep going. That's what you were saying.
I don't remember what I was saying. Oh, water kefir. Okay. So water kefir, we are all about like probiotic health, healing your body from within, all the fun things, like naturally. So
all the things.
I started making water kefir because somebody's like, you can make homemade sodas. And I was like, do I have time to wash my hair this week? No. Do I have time to make soda? Absolutely.
Hell yes.
Absolutely, I do. So I have been making soda for about a year now. And I just reconstituted some water kefir. I'm on my second batch, and my kids love lemon lime because they don't get to drink Sprite or anything. So it is probiotic and it's healthy, and it's help with your digestion, your gut health, and your gut flora. But it also is a fun, like I can make a root beer if I wanted to. I could make any variation. And usually we do our own strawberry syrup. So we'll make like a strawberry lime soda in the summertime. I only exploded 2 bottles last year. So
okay, back up. I have so many questions. What is water kefir?
So water kefir, have you ever heard of like the milk kefir, like kefir grains?
No.
Matt.
Why would I?
Matt.
Okay, we start with the premise that Matt's an idiot, okay? And we work from there. Explain kefir all the way.
Kefir is they're granules
that
are bacteria, essentially good bacteria, kind of like kombucha. Right. Think of it as kombucha.
Right.
So these grains are like the mother, and you feed them either milk that has natural sugars in it, or it's water kefir, where you give it things like molasses, special mineral salt. Like I put Celtic sea salt in mine to make sure it has all the extra minerals. So not only is it feeding our gut health, but it's also giving us the minerals to remineralize our body.
Got it.
All the good stuff. So water kefir is similar to that of sauerkraut and kombucha and fermented foods that help balance out that gut flora, but you got to have them all together, if it makes sense. So it was a coach probably about 1.5 years ago, which is why it stemmed me to do this. They say if you can give yourself a variety of fermented foods, you are going to do your body the best good that you can. So
when you say coach, was this an online coach?
It was like an Instagram video.
Okay.
It was like a health.
I gotta ask you a question. Yeah. I don't mean to derail you. We'll come back to kefir.
Of course.
You're an authentic person.
Yes.
Right? I fancy myself a reasonably authentic person. Like how do you manage the just openly false reality of the interwebs like Instagram? Okay. My wife very kindly got me this sauna this personal sauna for my 40th birthday.
Is it the one where you zip yourself
Oh
up
my
and your
God,
head sticks out?
yes.
Those things are so cool.
No. Have you ever sat in one?
I have.
No, thank you. No. Because, like, first off, I wasn't a sauna guy at the time.
Okay.
Like, I don't, and I've since converted, but you got me this, and I literally saw him. I'm like, I look like I'm just wearing a Glad bag. Like, what's going on here?
Kind of do, yeah.
And ultimately, she ended up getting me a cedar sauna from Costco. Costco has them, and they were
those
very
are so
affordable. I
neat.
assembled it myself. Yeah, like it was totally, and we use it. It's great. But this one, I was like, hon, what is this? Like, what did you get me? First off, you've never seen me in my life go in a sauna, and second, like, this is ridiculous. She's like, no, this person online really likes it. Like, her husband uses it, she uses it. I'm like, who's this person? And it was somebody who was this like influencer person,
right?
Who did, I think she did ice baths, and then she was like infrared sauna. And she's like, no, her husband like types emails with his hands out of it as he's like working. It's like, that's a staged photo. Like if I'm sitting in a sauna,
right.
I'm not going to be sending an email on my laptop. Like I'm going to be taking a minute for myself. This is
Yeah.
And so then I go on to Amazon. I'm like, how much did this thing cost? Amazon, you get them for like 150, 200 bucks.
Yeah.
Well, the one she got me with an affiliate link from this, influencer was way more expensive than that. And we were both like, what the hell? And then she gets on the phone with the company like, hey, this isn't even working. Like I sat in the thing for 45 minutes. I didn't even start sweating. Right. And they're like,
sketchy.
Well, your husband may not be very healthy. So like, maybe it's going to take him a while. She's like, he's plenty healthy. It's not working. And she had to fight with this company. Oh yeah. To return it. And then they were going to charge her like a $500 restocking fee. It's like, no, you're not charging me $5. They're like, do you have the original box? She's like, I have a box. I will box it back.
What are you going to resell it?
Like,
seriously?
Right. And anyway, so
Ew.
she got it. She took care of it, but it took like a week or two of arguing with these people. And it's one of those things where the more you engage in an actual manner with Instagram or the social media, world that we kind of exist in, the more you actually engage with them, the more you realize it's all just bullshit, smoke and mirrors. Like none of it's real. The influencers are getting paid. There's every single get rich quick scheme or instantaneously lose 50 pounds or be like the liver king.
Yeah.
It's like, I could eat all the liver I want. I'm never going to look like the liver king, right? Like that's just the way this goes. Like I'd also need steroids and some mass body workout and like genetics. How do you deal with that? Like here you're talking about making water kefir and putting in all this stuff from some gut health person who I'm sure is sponsored by some probiotic company who's I'm sure just making money off affiliate links. Like how do you manage that without just being completely jaded?
It's discernment. I'm trying to think through because I am very much who you are. Like in that sense of I am jaded in the social media field. That's why when you see something posted on the chamber, it's genuine.
Right.
It is me. It is our chamber. It's how we view relationships. It's how we view relationship building. And there has to be an authentic manner in which it happens because far too often they show you the highlight reel. Oh, we went today and got ice cream in the park and we did all these things and I got my nails done and I did my hair and check out all these and they give the link to everybody. But you don't really see the raw and real of what that day actually looked like or what that person looked like when they woke up or the kids that day or, is breakfast still on the counter because you didn't have time to wash those bowls. Those are the type of people I follow. I went through a mass exodus. So I deleted darn near close to 1,000 people off of my Instagram.
Yeah.
I went through a mass purge and I went, okay, is this serving me or is this draining me? So if I see them, does it make me feel better that there's camaraderie and you're doing something that's authentic that inspires me to be better? Or is it something that makes me want something more? Like, oh, I want a better couch. Oh, I want new drapes. Oh, I want to redo my backyard. Because if it makes me feel that way, then that's not real life.
It's just a drain. You don't feel good about yourself.
No.
I actually have
That's how I balance it. It's finding what serves you as a person and really looking for discernible things to go, okay, are they being real and honest and can I trust them? And if you don't feel as though they're trustworthy, you don't follow them.
Yeah.
If that trust is broken, it's broken,
1,000%. It's weird. It's a weird thing.
It's a very odd world.
It
If I
is
didn't
so
work in
weird.
it, I would not do it.
Yeah, that was 100% when I moved up here. Like I had an Instagram for my for my SAT prep, and I had these ridiculous videos on it, and math videos, grammar videos and stuff. But that was just more kind of like a fun thing for my students. I wasn't actually attempting to gain business from it because I had all the business I needed. I was just like sharing the fun we were having. And then coming up here, even with the ranch, right? Even with the ranch Instagram, it's like, I don't, until recently when I started posting a lot more reels on it, because I was like, it's too long to do like an hour episode for people. So like, why don't I harvest out some of the better spots of it? And theoretically that's the right thing to do. But as I started doing it more, I'm like, oh, okay, here we go. Like, I'm going to spend a lot of time editing these down. There are actual conversations. None of it's misrepresentation or
never.
But it is one of those things where then you hang out on it. Like now you're participating in the monster that's just eating you alive, like one little screen at a time.
Well, and it's perpetual. So when you start doing it in small increments, you don't realize that those small increments are slowly growing and growing and growing, and it's overtaken your afternoon.
And it's compounding. Yeah, right. Yeah, my boys really like Pokemon. They've never played an actual game of Pokemon.
Same.
Right.
Mike collects all the cards.
Okay, here's the thing. There's no last pack of Pokemon.
Nope.
Okay, and this is what I finally told my son the other day. One of them had a birthday. He wanted to go get a Pokemon set. Went to Target, got the Pokemon set. Flipped through it for like 45 seconds.
You didn't look at the bathing suits, did you?
Didn't. Oh my God.
I thought you'd enjoy that one.
Friendly. No, I did not look at the bathing suits. I was
you were Pokemon on.
Straight to right in the back of the store. They make you walk past all that stuff.
Everything.
It's like, everybody just wants the Pokemon. That's the only reason I go to Target.
I have not been to Target in a year and a half.
Good for you. That was the first time I'd gone.
Because I was like, I need to shop local. My dollar needs to mean something.
Okay, where do I get Pokemon local?
There are card stores, actually, in Boise.
Okay,
first off,
I'm not driving to Boise.
I understand that. So my son is in a Pokemon club, actually through the library district.
Okay, your son's in a Pokemon club. He's never played Pokemon.
He's never played Pokemon. My husband and him play a modified game, but they all trade cards.
I know.
So he collects like OG cards. My husband's like, oh, I had Charmander.
Oh my God, first generation Charizard?
Yes. He had all of those cards, and so did my brother-in-law. And they're like, oh, we should have kept them. And I was like, that would have made some life dream for this little boy.
Yeah.
Like, oh,
that would have made a life dream for you. You'd be living in a 6,000 square foot place with a theater.
No, I'd be living with Highland cows.
Oh my God, those are great. We have those on the hill over here.
Don't tease me with
They're so. We drive by them every day when we take our kids to school.
I'd be Merida.
Like, there's the cow.
Yeah.
Merida. Who's Merida?
Oh my gosh. The Disney movie Merida with her long locks, and she's out shooting arrows
Brave.
on her horse, and she's just frolicking.
Yeah. The movie that's like a vowel explosion. Hey, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, Robin Williams had a good bit on that. Anyway, yeah, so the point is there's no R.I.P. Robin Williams. There's no point where you have enough Pokemon.
You can never.
And I think that's the same thing with Instagram. Like I think you have to realize there's no last video you're going to watch.
Do you think it's teaching and instilling that from a young age, so that way when you're transitioning into social media, your brain is already kind of shifted and changed to be able to tolerate the need for abundance?
I think most things that people consume these days are wrapped around the idea of repetitive use. I'll give you an example. In the power tool world, the last legacy tool that was created was made in like 1989. And I'm sure it was like a Milwaukee circular saw or something. Once they started going to battery operation, there's no end. Okay, so you could walk in and you're like, I'm going to get the best battery operated, Milwaukee or DeWalt or whatever you want circular saw. 2 years later, they come out with a better battery set, right? And your battery always dies because batteries don't last forever. So you're always discharging it, recharging it. And so all of a sudden you're like, well, okay, I could buy a new battery for this. This saw works perfectly fine. No big deal. Or for like $30 more, I could get the brand new tool with the new battery. Yeah. Right? There's no end to it. So there are shifts in every industry where, because we've shifted so much towards battery operated things, we are predominant and technology based things, right? So even like I talked to this neurologist I think it was 2 months ago, Dr. Condi. Dr. Condi has an iPhone 6. Okay, the iPhone 6 still works the same day he bought it. And the reason it still works is because he doesn't install anything else on it. He left it the way it was. That's right. So if you install updates, if you upgrade your batteries, if you do any of these things, it's going to require an upgrade in actual tool. So
Mhm.
all of the things we're geared around are like, okay, just this is good for now, but you're going to need something new in like a year and a half or in 2 years. So we
Yep.
never, it's not like somebody passed down their hunting rifle to you and it was like your grandfather's and then your dad had it and now you have it. And it's this
Yeah.
legacy tool, which you still have in the hunting world,
Yes.
right? And you have, you know,
You made my heart happy because I got my grandpa's rifle when he passed away. So that was one of those like, yes,
you could do that.
but you can.
You could pass
Yes.
down, you can pass down knives. You can pass down china.
Mhm.
Not that we ever use china
I
anymore,
mean,
right? And you could pass, but there are so few things that actually have
Yeah.
a long-term value to them that it's like, yeah, that's just the way consumerism is now.
we had this conversation literally the other day about my refrigerators because we have had this refrigerator since the day we moved in our house.
Sure.
We bought it.
Sure.
It was actually an upgraded version. We bought like a lower version because we're like, we have kids. They're going to slam the doors, going to leave it open. They're going to break everything. Like,
Sure,
we
of
don't
course.
want a good one right now.
Of course.
So they're like, oh, it's dented. We're going to give you the upgraded version for free. We can have it there tomorrow. We're like, cool, whatever. No big
Great.
deal. Like, we don't have to pay for it.
Sure.
It has broken almost every pullout is this janky plastic. Every one of your condiment holders has broken. There's cracks in everything. And I've literally said, when I find the right refrigerator, and it's going to be a vintage, like 50s old school refrigerator, I am going to buy it. And we are getting rid of this piece because I love vintage already.
Sure.
But I've done enough research in this world, because obviously I don't ever sleep anymore. Thank you, kids. Jokingly, but like I never slept
Not
to
really
begin
joking.
with.
Not joking.
Sort of joking, not really joking. But I've done enough research to find out that they're not as energy efficient as they claim to be, these new ones. So they're
Right.
finding that it's pretty comparable when you're finding an old machine, and you can get those parts fairly cheap. You can fix it yourself. You're not having to call because it's a computer. You're not having to do any of that work, and they're more economical. The way they have them structured was intended to be used for people that were cooking. So like us, our fridge doesn't hold enough ever. Our fridge is not compatible. It freezes in the back. They don't make things like they used to.
God, isn't that true? It's so, and when you see somebody who has like a vintage stove that has like a
I want to be their best friend.
20,000
Yes.
BTU burner, because they're like, look, people are having a lot of kids. It's like the boomer
Yes.
stove.
Yes.
They're like, they need to torch like 5 gallons of water for
Mhm.
pasta tonight. Let's turn this bad boy. And it's like the blue flame.
Yes. My favorite.
And those are awesome. And they're like 60, 70 years old and they still work. And if you get a repair
like the
guy,
day they got it.
he's like, oh, this is Gen Air. This is a whatever. He's like, yeah, I got one of these tubes. Or if they don't have them, they're like, oh, yeah, you got to go get a quarter inch or half-inch piece of, this piping. And then you just smash it and drill these holes and it works. And it's like they can manufacture the parts for it.
Absolutely.
And it's not sealed. You get a stove now, it's sealed. You can't
It's
can't.
intended to be
Right.
that way, though.
Right.
It's intended to focus on consumerism. It's intended, not contended, to make you go, okay, cool, 5 years has passed, it's broken, let's buy a new one, versus keeping it for longevity and utilizing it to the fullest of its extent.
Right. Have you seen any of the videos? And again, the Instagram knows me, so they send me a lot of videos from India.
They know me very
They know
well.
me. And there's this Indian repair guy who is a sensation on Instagram as far as Indian repair guys go. And people bring things to his shop, and he moves. The whole point of him and the entertainment values, he's literally jumping off his counter to like grab things up high, smacking something, smearing it off the counter. Blah, blah. And so people bring in their stoves. It's wild. I'll have to put a clip up, obviously. But the people bring in their 2-burner stoves, that are like, that we would call like a camping stove, but it's a countertop stove that hooks up to a propane tank. Okay. And these things literally, it has like an intake pipe, a controller, and like then the burner. Yeah. And I've seen him repair several of them. One, he turns on, there's this huge explosion, smacks it off. And just within 20 seconds, he's got this putty, smashes it on, wraps it up, flips it back over, hooks it, and it fires up because there was like a hole in the pipe, right? He didn't even replace the pipe. He literally just puttied it with some like JB Weld, steel stuff, and goes on. But all of those, and these things look like they've been passed down forever. And but they work forever. And you can,
My grandmother has had the same like washer and dryer for 20 years. Seriously. And she's like, oh, when I need to do this, I just do this and I fix this and I turn it this way. And I'm like, Okay, mine blew the heating element in the dryer in under 5 years. My husband had to fix it. And we're like, well, we're not going to pay a guy to come out when we can buy a part on Amazon for $25 and try to fix it ourselves.
We did the same thing.
Drives me nuts.
Do you have an LG?
Yes.
Okay. This is exactly
Class
what happened
action
to
lawsuit.
us. Dude, hell yeah. I had to, there was this thermo something that like senses that.
Thermocoupler.
Okay. This thing was like an easy 2 feet inside the washer. The hole in the back of the washer is only this big.
Yep. You can unscrew the whole thing, take the whole thing off.
No, I did it blind so I like reach my arm in and I'm feeling around where like the screw is. And then I get the screwdriver and I'm doing this like this. My dog's sitting on top of me. The washer's right here on my face. I'm like, and I flip it out. It works for like 3 weeks and then it still breaks again. We had already paid a repair guy. I was like, hun, we got to get rid of this thing. It's just trash. This is not going to work.
Landfill.
And again, why? The drum was perfectly fine. The computer system was perfectly fine. Like there was this failing part that just kept failing over and over. It was like, what are we doing? Yeah, we have a refrigerator that's easily 30 years old. Easily.
Those are the best.
And it's like, we inherited this place when we bought a house. We inherited it. And it was an old refrigerator then. Like it doesn't have a crisper. It doesn't have a drawer. It just has like this basket at the bottom. Yeah. And it's rusted on the screws and it's trashed. That thing it's a soldier. And we have gone through at least 3 or 4 other refrigerators. In that time. And we still have this one in our garage. It doesn't give a crap. It is steady as can be, man. The
kids can slam it as much as they want.
Dude, the coil on the back has fallen off. Like we've never cleaned it. It looks like hell. And we actually got a new one recently. A few years back, we got this new one. And we were like, okay, this one will be great. We'll put all our proteins and whatnot in the freezer. Yeah. It can't regulate the temperature. So we had to put everything back in the 30-year-old fridge and freezer. And so now the new one is our like trash beer fridge. That's filled with like
funny. LaCroix. Of course.
Yeah.
Because you can't keep enough of those in the fridge. We literally went through like 2. Okay, I went Albertsons the other day, bought 2 packs of soda water, and I was like, okay, boys, the goal is to not finish them by the weekend. The goal is to enjoy them like they were a treat. Like, let's not just consume LaCroix.
There's just a treat.
I know but like, let's utilize them for fun. You can drink our bougie spring water over here.
Have you seen my water kefir?
Yeah, seriously. Oh my gosh. No, because we're days. We are literally like 2 days from being able to pop open our first bottle of homemade soda in like the season.
Can you bring some in, please?
Oh, yes.
I'm dying to try your water kefir.
It is homemade soda, and you are going to love it.
God, I'm
so excited.
I'm dying.
I have huckleberry syrup. And then I have blackberry syrup. So I'm going to start some fusion like mixed berry sodas.
Do you think that people back in the 50s were more like you? Or do you think that you're like unique? You're kind of like agelessly unique in that you have a lot of energy and desire to do these things?
Because we have barbiturates. So I feel like they were like nicotine and barbiturates were what was pushing them forward.
Listen, that's my point. Like they were medicated to hell. Like the happy housewife, like she was on amphetamines.
I feel like life was just different. So it's hard to compare apples and oranges because mom didn't go to work necessarily. Dad brought home a paycheck. She went and did grocery shopping on the daily basis. She took care of the kid. Like the lifestyle was different to what it is today. So it's hard to compare the two.
Brandy. Kids were still a pain in the ass.
No, you could send little Johnny at 2 years old outside to go play with his brothers.
Kids were still a pain in the ass. Didn't you see that movie Far and Away with Tom Cruise back in the day? No, he's like this Irish man. Oh, it was like the 90s. It doesn't matter, but he's fighting with his brothers, like his teen, like they're young adults, and they're like beating the hell out of each other on like some Irish hillside at the beginning of the movie. I have no wish to fight you. Pow, and he pops him. That was the worst Irish accent ever. I know. My point is, it was a good movie. Check it out. It was a good movie.
Is Nicole Kidman in it?
I think so.
Oh my gosh.
I think that's his
I remember that movie.
Yeah.
I watched it with my mom at like 12.
Like people were still people. Raising kids was still a damn train wreck. Like, you could send them outside, but when they came back in, they smelled bad. They were dirty. They were like little jerks because that's what little kids are. Now you could hit them and everybody was cool with that. And you could smoke and drink through pregnancy, which is cool too. Like they had no problem.
I can't condone this part of the conversation.
I'm not saying you should. All I'm saying is you had, to your point, you had far less concerns in the world.
It was a very different life. So I don't think I'm unique to the world. I think my father-in-law calls me, he's like, oh, you're like Betty Crocker. He goes, that's how I describe you. It's like Betty Crocker. So
Brandy, but Betty Crocker was unique because nobody was like Betty Crocker. If everybody was like Betty Crocker, you'd just be a mom.
see, I think that's what my mindset is, though, that everybody was like this. I'm just bringing something back that is missing, that I feel like intuitively is somehow inbred in me. And just, I find joy in this. I love doing this stuff.
I get it. That's why I'm saying it's unique. How many of your friends find joy in making the crema?
That's besides the point, Matt.
My point is, I think I have an appreciation for being all in for your kids, being all in for your family, like really doing like the little things that add up to big things, right? All of that stuff. But I think no matter what age in the world we are, or the age in our country, you always had people that were willing to go above and beyond. And then you always had people that struggled more and couldn't navigate the complexity of life and fell into, drugs and alcohol. And it was really it wasn't until recently that I deeply understood that. Somebody said, they're like, look, I think it was even Jordan Peterson. I saw the clip. And like,
him.
He's great. And he said, look, the problem, this is not my wisdom. I gleaned this from him. But he said, look, the problem that people actually experience when they go through like a psychological break is the world becomes too complex and they can't compute anymore. And I thought about that for like weeks. And when you really break it down, especially in the time of life when I felt most stressed out, it was like, it is complexity. It's complexity of how to solve 1,000 little problems, to get your kid to stop screaming, help your spouse, get this work thing done. And there's no right answer to any of it. And add on top of it, you're dealing with your own personal issues. You could be tired, you could be hungry, and finding a solution to check all these boxes becomes so complex and so difficult that people just crack, right? And so I don't think, I think at every stage of our country, be it in the 50s or the 20s or even now, these 20s, right? You're still going to have a certain number of people.
That makes me like get a little
crazy,
cringy.
right?
I'm sorry.
The roaring 20s.
No thanks.
Yeah, right.
This is not
a century
roaring.
ago. I feel like we're roaring. I think
like a lion.
No, listen. They are going to look at this age of the United States as the great redistribution, like the great settling.
I could see that.
Because we lived in California because that's where we lived.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that we chose California. That's just where we lived.
Right.
Now people are choosing where to live, which has never happened. And the families are choosing where to live. And people are resorting themselves based on political principles and economic flexibility.
Absolutely.
This is going to be, in the history books, one of the greatest reshapings of the United States ever.
Okay. Have you noticed in this generation a shift? Like, it took one full generation to get us out of growing our own food, going to the mill, going to our farmers, to going to grocery stores because of convenience and fast food restaurants because of convenience. Do you see the shift in the trend of more people thinking similarly of like, oh shoot, what's in my food? I need to figure this out. I need to figure out how to do this better than I'm doing it.
All right, I have mixed feelings on this one.
Okay.
I actually think there are a lot of problems. The food companies don't give a shit about us. That's true. Okay. However, people also don't give a shit about themselves.
Yes.
Okay. So like you could eat Doritos in moderation and you'd probably be okay. Mm-hmm. You just can't eat a dump truck of them, right? People have far less physical activity and they don't supplement, right? There are all kinds of problems that are very real problems that aren't conspiracy. Like the food company is not out there saying like, hey, I'm going to make the most nutritious Dorito. They're like, I'm going to make this shit that you got. You can't only have one. That's a different company. Is that Lay's? You just can't have one. It doesn't
Pringles,
matter.
you pop.
No, that's the pop. No, you can't.
I think it's Lay's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you have these companies that are like, look, our deal is to sell as much of this stuff as we can. Okay. And I think there are people that are going down. I think eating healthy is actually very, very simple. I think you just eat base ingredients. But what I think people are doing is they are anxiety prone about the world. And perhaps they're even dealing with some level of health problems. and they get sold the idea that they can go down these like specialty diets, whether it's like the blood type diet or the zone diet or the, like 1 meal a day diet or the whole foods diet or the vegan diet, whatever, right? Whatever it is. And people cling on to that very much like people develop eating disorders, right? They feel there's so much chaos in their life.
It's a control tactic.
It's a control tactic. And I think that's what people are largely doing with their food. I think they hyper focus on, excuse me, like micronutrients and just the right balance and all these things, when in reality, you should just do a shotgun approach. But do a shotgun approach with like, I eat that. If you look 200 years ago, what were the things people ate predominantly? Those are the things that you actually needed, because that's how people survived. So they're like, hey, rice and beans, that's a great thing. And it will give you what
potatoes,
you need. Eggs,
meat.
potatoes. So you go down these base ingredients. That's not hard to do. What's hard to do is stop yourself from eating the things that are terrible, like sugar.
And I feel like we as consumers are kind of on the back pedal or the decline of all of this, because the companies and the food companies know what to add to make us crave things. There are natural flavors. I won't get into this whole conversation today. Another day we'll go down that rabbit hole of what natural flavoring actually is and what they based it for.
Grab the mic closer or get closer to it. There you go.
Okay.
There you go.
I was trying not to eat on the
No, I know. I had the same thing. And like your crema is so good, I just can't chomp the chip on mic.
I've won. This made my day.
We're going to have to cut early so I can just pig my face.
You're just going
to pretty much. Anyway, go.
They intentionally formulate these processes and these flavors to get you addicted, to make you crave it. Like sodas are full of sodium because it makes you more thirsty and it makes you want more and more and more. The natural flavoring kicks in, and the way it psychologically works on you, you just go, oh, I'm craving a Dr. Pepper. Oh, I'm craving a Cactus Cooler. I'm craving these things that you're like, where did that come from? I haven't had one of those in years. So the coloring of the can, the presentation. So everything. It's the exact same thing that tech companies do with social media, right? Like they figure out what they're like, we could just give them a little shot of this and they're going to come back for more. And that's what it is. But in reality, it's really easy to get off social media. Just put your damn phone down. You turn your notifications off. There was a big study done about that.
Right. Turn your notifications off, turn your phone to black and white. And turn down the resolution, make it look trash, and all of a sudden you're like, this is not that compelling. And it's not. In reality,
your brain doesn't get the dopamine.
You're like, I'm watching somebody make food in another country. Like, what am I doing? Like, I'm here in Idaho enjoying my day on my phone.
Right.
Like, all of these things are easy if you just cut the legs out from them. All you have to do is I'm not compelled to get on my phone right now. I'm hanging out with you. We're having a real conversation. We're eating food. These are real world things.
Absolutely.
But I think, again, people freak out about this stuff because they freak out about food. They freak out about, any workout routines. And people on social media and people in the world feed that anxiety with like, okay, this is why you should eat 3/4 of a cup of blueberries every other day, following it by 1 artichoke unsteamed. It has to be raw. And it's going to be, you're going to choke it down, but this is what you're going to do. Like they go through these elaborate things. I had, my family, growing up, I was exposed to all kinds of ridiculous. There was one point in time when my sister and brother were rubbing whole, unpasteurized whole milk yogurt on their face to get rid of acne. And then like every 7th day rubbing lemon juice on it, on their faces. And I was like, what the hell are you doing? Right. I was the younger brother. I'm like, it was horrifying. I was like 12 watching my, 16-year-old brother and 14-year-old sister, like smearing this rubbing in this yogurt on it. I was like, what? And again, like we knew this person who was like super alternative. She's like, this is what's going to work. And of course it didn't. That exact same person, by the way, it was like 10 years ago. She's like, I'm going to refill my fillings in my teeth. I was like, you're going to refill your filling? I was like, aren't they already filled? Isn't that the nature of filling? She's like, no, I'm regrowing my teeth. It's like, how are you doing that? And she's like, well, the problem is our teeth decay because and she goes down to the sink.
There's a whole nother conversation we'll go into another day about that.
It's a little out there. But again, I think people are fed this thing because they get anxious and then they go down these rabbit holes when in reality it's like, can we just get on with it? Like life is not as complex as you're making it.
I feel like they've intentionally made it complex though, to build upon this kind of thing. So if as a mom or dad, you're grocery shopping, you're trying to do the best for your kids, or you're trying to source good food to fuel your body because you're same thing, shotgun approach. You're like, we're going to get all the healthy foods.
Sure.
We're going to eat in moderation, the things that are not healthy, and we're going to make sure we're active people. You're still going to go to the grocery store and you're still going to go, oh shoot, what is this modified cornstarch? Oh shoot, what is this disodium glyphosate? What is this X, Y, and Z? What is BHA? What is BHT? And we've talked about this a couple times, like the knowledge of all of this. If you already go in going, hey, I know they're trying to kill me. What do I do and how do I approach it? You're going to buy things that are no more raw. You're going to buy raw ingredients. You're going to buy things that don't have any
outside
filler.
of the grocery store.
Exactly.
Right.
There was, and this is why I got so excited a minute ago, Tyson Food has laid off tens of thousands of people, and they are backfilling with illegal immigrants because it's cheaper labor.
Is that real?
Yeah. And so Tyson Food is having a huge, they're boycotting Tyson now because of it, because they're saying if you're not going to hire American and local, then, unfortunately, we're going to have to show you that where our dollar buys. So now we have Kellogg, which, by the way, they already took the Kellogg's brand off of the Pop-Tarts box. In 1 month, they've rebranded Pop-Tarts to not say Kellogg's. So people don't know. Lack of information. If you don't have the knowledge, you don't know what to buy. So unfortunately with Tyson, they are also the people that send food to schools. So you're seeing these chicken nuggets that have feathers sticking out of them. And there's these reports coming up of subpar food being given to children in schools. But they also own companies like Adele's. I love Adele's sausages.
Right. Oh, that's rough.
It's really rough. And they also own, there's a Gallo salami. So there's things that me as a consumer, I had to take a look at what I was buying and go, oh, shoot, if I'm not agreeing with these things, and we talked about this whole unionization of where you put your money in things. Sure. But if I don't agree with the fact that they're letting all of these people who have families go, then I need to make sure that my dollar is speaking for itself. So it's really made me more aware of where our products are coming from, and totally making me go to my dairy to get the chickens, to buy my beef, to buy anything that I potentially need. Just because now I feel more secure in, one, the process, and two, with the ingredients. I say ingredients, but things like antibiotics, feed, that kind of thing. There is a simpler way, but our life is so busy that it's hard to find that simpler way.
Maybe cut out the water kefir. Listen, I'm just
Never.
Brandy, you're the best. We've been going for an hour. Let's cut it. You had a long night. I so appreciate you coming and making all this stuff happen. This has been the best.
I'm going to shout them out really quick.
Yeah, I was going to shout out.
We have Spring Creek Brewing. We have a business after hours next Thursday. So next Thursday at Spring Creek Brewing, it's open to anybody and everybody that wants to come. If you're a business owner, you're a business rep, if you are anybody who wants to connect even with your local Eagle community, come on down 5 to 7 p.m. at Spring Creek Brewing next Thursday. And we're going to be there just hosting a wonderful night of bites and brews.
Man, I might have to make my way.
I know. That'd be so awesome.
That'd be awesome. Let's get a little picture here for the people. Yes. Perfect. All right. Cool. Thanks, Brandy. I appreciate you. Next week. I can't wait.
Got it. Love it.
MTU Studios is the proud producer for the Ada County Sheriff Podcast, the Idaho Wildlife Federation Podcast, the State Representative Ted Hill Podcast, the Idaho State PTA Podcast, and many more. If you or your organization is thinking about starting a podcast, MTU Studios would love to help. Just check out mtustudios.com.